Hello fellow audio nerds, I'm Steph, and this is Major Hi-Fi. This past week I got a chance to spend some quality time with the newest gaming headphones from Audio-Technica, the Audio-Technica ATH-G1WL. So these are for PC and Mac gaming, computer gaming, and yeah, the question is, how do they perform and can they help you with your gaming? Let's go back in time, I'll share with you my first impressions, and then I'll meet you right back here for my overall thoughts. Alright, here we go. Oh, hey, Steph here. Before getting started into the review, I just want to say a quick thing. If you like this review and you find it really helpful, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. We definitely want to try and grow a little bit, so definitely want to hear your feedback as well. So let us know what you think in the comments down below. Alright, thanks. I'll see you in the review. Hey everybody, welcome to my place. So today I have with me the G1WL, so let's see what's inside the box here. Alright, so as you'll see here, there's some good accessories. So first things first, we've got some documentation. We've got this transmitter, transceiver they call it actually. So it transmits and receives. We've got a charging cable, micro USB. We've got some ear pads, some spare ear pads because the headphones have ear pads on them as well. A microphone, and of course the headphones themselves. So first things off, they have a really nice sense of lightweight, of lightweight, and it's because this headband is made of aluminum. I think it's made of metal, so it's kind of a light metal though, very thin headband with these sort of like perforations in it to make it kind of feel lightweight, but I think they have a really cool look because of that detail. And the extender is actually really similar because it has sort of this cutout in the middle of it, yet it's this kind of like thin kind of, I don't know if this is a different metal. It might actually, it feels like it could be maybe like a steel or something, but I'm not totally sure on that. Then at the base of the headband, you'll see that the ear cups kind of twist inward like this, make it easy to store and all of that kind of stuff. And then finally you'll see that this yoke attaches to either side of the ear cup, just like all the other Audio-Technica headphones, at least like the M50X for example, which these headphones kind of have a similar look in terms of like the ear cup shape and size. But you'll see on the underside of the headband, there's this kind of layer of foam here. It's soft, cushiony, and it's coated in sort of a leather material. So kind of a standard thing. Moving down to the ear cups, these do have that kind of M50X look to them, don't they? Except there's a few other little details there. But at the base of the ear cup, there are a bunch of controls here. So you'll see there's the on-off switch, the microphone on-off switch, a volume dial here, but it's also a button, so if you press that button, it also turns on and off the surround sound functionality with these headphones. Then there's the port for the micro USB charging. There's a button for to monitor the microphone so that you can hear it, make sure it's working, and also make sure that it sounds good. There's a port for the microphone itself, and then the on-off switch for the headphones. The other ear cup doesn't have any controls on it, so it's all just on one ear cup, so you can find everything pretty easily, and all of that kind of good stuff. But it feels like these ear cups are actually made of that kind of aluminum as well. They're lightweight, but they feel really durable at the same time. Finally, as for the ear pads, they have kind of a more of a memory foam feel than the padding of the headband does. So you'll see it takes a little bit of time for them to sort of like regain their shape after you press them in. But the side of it is coated in leather, but then the part that actually touches your ear, this is a much more breathable material. So these are going to be great for people that wear these for a long period of time because your head won't get hot. So it's kind of a nice breathable kind of material that won't bum you out. So as for the fit, let's see how they feel. Alright, yeah, so sitting on the head, they're actually very comfortable. I'm pretty psyched on that. Just they're lightweight on the head, they still feel durable and like strong. Yeah, in terms of the clamping force, it's a really light clamping force that gives it a feeling of stability, but also just makes these ear cups just sit so lightly on the ear. It's really, really nice and super comfortable. Now, as for the wireless connection on these, so these will connect to PCs and Macs. Only. It's not a headphone that you use with your phone or with your PS4. So if you're a gamer who uses PC or Mac to game, these are going to be ones for you to consider. Now, it does connect via a 2.4 gigahertz connection wirelessly, so it's not there's no latency to it at all, and you can really get the most out of out of these headphones for specifically playing with video games or watching movies if you're into that as well. You're not going to get any latency from, from voices or from footsteps or anything like that. And one other benefit that, I don't know, maybe this is more relevant, I don't know what exactly it's relevant for, but with line of sight, you should actually have a longer connection, like a longer range of connection with these headphones than just normal Bluetooth. So you'll get 12 meters or around 39 feet as opposed to 10 meters or around 30 feet with Bluetooth. So yeah, the wireless connection here is really nice. It's strong, and you will get some nice a nice battery life with it. It's about 15 hours. So those serious gamers out there, you'll be able to get everything you need out of these headphones. Now, there are kind of a few cool features of these that are specific to gaming and make that experience just better in general. So one has to do with this microphone here. So this mic is hypercardioid, which means it's super, super directional. So you're going to get a really clean sound of your voice that will be able to pick up, and then you can monitor that if you want to. But if you are sitting at home and you aren't playing online, or you don't want people to hear you, you can also just mute the microphone, which is kind of just a nice feature to have. Additionally, there's this surround sound. It's a 7.1 surround sound button, and there's not a whole lot of information about this on the Audio-Technica site, but I am really interested just to see how it sounds, because who knows, maybe it'll really actually take that experience to the next level. Now, one other super cool feature of these headphones, now you'll notice that the box did not include a audio cable, so you can't just plug these into anything that has a headphone jack. So what happens if you're playing and then the battery starts to die on your headphones? If that happens, you can actually use the headphones while they're charging. So this cable, you'll notice it's super long for a charging cable. Usually charging cables that come with headphones or whatever are really, really short. But this one's long, and it enables you to actually use this to charge the headphones while you're playing. So all you do is plug it into your computer and you continue doing your thing. No need to lose functionality of the headphones while you're playing. But anyway, I'm super excited to give these babies a listen, so let's do it. Alright, so I've got my Mac here, my MacBook, kind of getting ready to take a listen to these. I plugged the transceiver into the port there and then turned the headphones on. So let's see if I'm getting any signal here. And I just got a little beep in the headphones. Let me see if I'm getting signal. Alright, so for my Mac, I just went into the settings and went to sound, and now I can choose output and input of the headphones. And I see signal from the microphone here, which, yeah, when I scratch it, I'm getting signal. Yeah, hey. And then set the output to the headphones as well, and now if I play, yes, I have it in the headphones. Alright, so to me, I'm not a huge gamer, and when I do play, it's on PS4, but in terms of like sound quality for headphones, what I really like are kind of extra presence in the high mids so that I can really accurately hear footsteps, and then I like there to be a little bit of a boom there, so if an explosion happens or just something big, I can kind of feel it. So I'm kind of going to be testing that with these headphones a little bit. So I pulled up just some videos here of gameplay, because like I said, I don't really play games on PC, but I've got some Star Wars Battlefront going on here. Now, I was just listening, and I hear kind of a computer player off in the distance say, the Imperials are coming or whatever, and it really did feel like it was far away. It seems like the representation of soundstage works. And let me just see if the surround is on or not. Oh yeah, it definitely comes to life with the soundstage when that surround sound button is pressed and engaged. I'm also getting a lot of nice rumble from explosions and sort of these like planes, or I don't know, these sort of like flying vehicles are going across the screen, and you can really hear them go from left to right. And likewise, there's a lot of footsteps going on. There's a lot of foot traffic around me, and I can definitely hear them placed in space here. There's definitely this like specificity to those footsteps too, and to the gunshots in particular, which is kind of nice. I didn't even really think about that, but the gunshots have this high mid presence to them as well, which helps kind of me detect where bullets are coming from. I am noticing a pretty significant kind of like smiley face element to these headphones. Now, it's good on one hand because it's helping me pinpoint certain the directionality of footsteps and bullets, but it doesn't sound as full. There is that rumble to the low end, but in terms of like the middle part of the mid range, it just feels a little bit less full. You know what? I'm gonna actually switch to some music now and just be, because it'll be helpful for me to actually be able to analyze better what is going on. But in terms of how it relates to gameplay, footsteps seemed a little bit louder in the mix, but that also really, the soundstage and the surround button here really helped to place things in space a little bit better, so it's kind of nice. And then there's also that nice rumble from the explosions. So yeah, I was just listening to the song A Bigger Paper Bag by Father John Misty, and the kick drum definitely has this sort of roundness to it, this punchiness. It is missing a little bit of the harmonic complexity, but it has that punchiness that gives it that extra little bit of like oomph to it. You can feel that kick drum, and it's nice. But I'll also say there's a lot of nice spaciousness around the lows and around the low mids, because in this song also I'm getting a really nice feeling of just like tightness from the bass, and it has good separation from the kick as well. And alright, I was just listening to the song No Dad by Taylor Hollingsworth, and yeah, the middle part of the mid range definitely has a dip compared to the presence that I got from the high mids here. There's a lot of crunchiness to that electric guitar and less of the foamness and the harmonic complexity of it. But that said, that crunchiness, that texture of the electric and the vocals really sat forward in space, and it sounded very, very articulate and specific. There's nice detail there in the high mids. So it's kind of interesting. Alright, I was just listening to the song Stuff by Miles Davis. The high frequencies, uh, they have this really nice crispness to them. They don't feel super harmonically complex, like I'm not getting the full character of the cymbals that I would need to really enjoy music with them like this. But they do have this sense of articulation and also this texture to them that's really nice. This sort of like specificity to the attack and to kind of the ring of it. So it's kind of interesting and definitely something that I think, these headphones are better for gaming than they are for music, I think. But I just kind of use them in this context to give you a better idea of kind of what they're sounding like. But I do want to quickly just talk about how the surround button affects the soundstage. So I'm playing this song called When It Was Wrong by the California Honey Drops, because the soundstage in this song is, there's kind of wide pan instruments, things in the middle, and it's also a very mid-rangey song. Wow, okay, so what an interesting change in the frequency response with this button. So when the surround sound is deactivated, all of a sudden, even more high-mid presence comes into it, like the vocal goes from sounding, here, so really being right here, as well as any other instrument that has high mid frequency rich information. The horns, the guitars, all just came forward like this, and it really changed the whole shape of the frequency response. Then when I pressed the button again to reactivate the surround button, everything all of a sudden kind of sat back to where it was meant to be, or where it sounds more natural, I guess. It also really greatly affects the sense of height, because the voice goes from sitting kind of in the middle here to when the surround sound is deactivated, it jumps up here because there's more of that kind of energy, I guess, kind of placing it higher in space. And I found that with other instruments in the song too. very interesting, and I'm gonna keep listening and give you and meet you back at the Major Hi-Fi office with my overall thoughts here. Alright, here we go. Overall, the low frequencies of the G1WL have a lot of life to them. There's a boost around in a couple places, right around 60 hertz and right around 100 hertz. So it really kind of brings a feeling to the low frequencies and a feeling of punch as well. For explosions and things of that nature, you really get a nice kind of rumble from them. But in regard to music listening, the low frequency isn't super realistic sounding, but it does have that kind of punchiness, and it does have space around it, especially with the surround sound button engaged. You really get kind of a nice feeling of space around the low frequencies that still leaves room for the low mids. As for the mid-range of the G1WL, the low mids have a little bit of a boost right around what sounded like 200 hertz, which in music brings basses a little bit closer in space, but in gaming really kind of brings forward sounds that have thuddiness to them. So kind of deeper, the sounds of boots on wood, for example, kind of come through a little bit louder. But then, right above that boost at 200, there definitely felt like a pretty substantial cut right around 300 hertz that kind of was a little bit wide, so the middle part of the mid-range definitely feels dipped, giving these headphones more of a smiley face kind of curve to them. This curve leaves a lot of spaciousness for kind of the high mids to really come through with a lot of detail, as well as those lower frequencies that I've already sort of described. But as a result, it's really nice for gaming because it brings footsteps forward, it lets those rumbles, those lower rumbles, kind of give you that nice feeling, but it doesn't have as much of the mid-range sounds that can be a little bit distracting. As a result, though, it's not as aesthetically pleasing for music, and it's definitely better for movies or for games. There's a little bit of a cut right at around what sounded to me like 2 kilohertz, but then there's a boost between 3 and 4 kilohertz, and what this does is bring vocals kind of forward in the mix, as well as voices of characters in the game, and, you know, as I've sort of mentioned, those footsteps that are kind of important for figuring out directionality. And as I sort of mentioned in my first impressions video, there's also that kind of sound of like the bullets flying that really, that coming out, where it's super, super helpful for figuring out where someone is shooting you from. So it's kind of helpful for gaming. As for the high frequencies of the G1WL, they had a similar kind of sensation as the low frequencies because they had emphasis, but it wasn't super realistic sounding, at least when I was listening to music. And as a result, what it was really good at is articulation. There's a boost at 6 kilohertz, at what sounded to me like 6 kilohertz, and it really kind of brought this crispiness forward. You can hear the texture of boot in snow, for example. You can really kind of hear lots of like kind of particularity details of like transient things. However, kind of that followed by some cuts makes it less realistic sounding, and I had a similar feeling with the another boost at 9 kilohertz and then another boost in the upper octave between what sounded like 11 and 13 kilohertz, giving you a nice sense of air, but sort of limiting the amount of harmonic complexity that's there. So when listening to music, this isn't as effective, but when listening to movies or when you're playing a game, those sort of areas of the frequency response that are emphasized are actually really helpful to getting things done and to making the world kind of have more emotional impact, if that makes sense. Now, the soundstage of the G1WL is really interesting when the surround sound button is pushed in. You definitely get a better sense of width and a better sense of depth from the headphones with it engaged. However, with it engaged, it drastically changes the frequency response from when it's not engaged. So for example, the way I was talking about the high mids and the lower treble being present with the headphones, they become even more present when the surround sound is disengaged. And this really kind of gives it this much more intimate sound, kind of pushes things closer to your face. So when you engage the surround sound button, it really kind of lets everything kind of have that spaciousness that you need. That's a more aesthetically pleasing sound anyway. So I think it's a really interesting and well done surround sound button, and it definitely brings that kind of landscape to life in a way that it definitely doesn't have without it. Additionally, it really kind of brings to life the actual room sound where you are, and it kind of puts you where the characters are, so it makes it more fun to listen to. And while it's not super realistic sounding, it brings it more to life and kind of emphasizes it a little bit so that you can really put yourself there. And I thought it was interesting, and I think it's well done too. Overall, the G1WL is a really fun, durable, and comfortable headphone for those of you looking for a gaming headphone that you can use for computer gaming. It's not going to be for those of you playing PS4 or anything like that, and it's not going to be for those of you that are listening to music with your headphones as well, because really the sound signature doesn't work so well for music and works much better for gaming. So if you like to watch movies and you like gaming and you want a comfortable, durable set of headphones, these are going to be a great option for you. Thank you so much for watching. For another perspective on the Audio-Technica ATH-G1WL, be sure to check out the link in the description box down below. I've left a link to my colleague's review there of the same headphones. If you like this review, please give it a thumbs up. And for more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Alright everybody, I will see you next time. Bye.